So here she is back on the ground. Got everything done with the brakes. And then we had to finish up the putting all the other pieces back together real quick before we could get to this point. Come here and show you. There's the old steering wheel, straight, everything's good to go. So if you want to see us finish up the steering and get it back to where it is here, the steps we had to take, and a little trick and all that to see how we got it back on the ground. Steering's all done, brakes are all done. Then keep watching, and please subscribe so you can see everything else that we're doing to this truck to get it on the road. Trying to go from barn to road on that one. And then you can also pick up what we're doing on this one here, which I'm going to start on today. So there'll be some more videos coming down the line on that one as well. But please subscribe and like and follow and all that so you can see this girl get back on the road eventually. Not too many steps away. We've progressed to the part where we're putting this new steering gear in, which is this thing here. It weighs about 35 pounds, something like that. It's kind of awkward. You see the pitman arm sticking out down at the bottom. And there's 3 bolts. So, sorry, a little shaky. So there's that bolt right there. And then there's a hole here and a hole here. But we were trying to get the bolt threaded while we held it. It was just hard to get everything lined up. So what we did is we grabbed 2 long Phillips screwdrivers, shoved them through the holes, and got everything lined up. And then I could, on the 3rd hole over there with that bolt, I could just, since it was real close, then we could just kind of wiggle around a little bit until we got the thing to catch just right. And so that bolt's already snugged up. Not tight, but just snug. And now we can go back and pull these, which are kind of loose. That one's got some tension. That one's completely loose, so I'll probably go for a bolt there next. But anyway, we were able to do that and get them in there. So that was our trick. Just made it seem like worked quite a bit easier. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and finish putting the rest of these bolts in, and then we'll swing down here, put that pitman arm back together. I got a new nice polyurethane bushing cover thing there, so that'll look nice when we're done with that. But we'll go ahead and get those things together, show you that put together all done, and then we're gonna put the wheels on this truck and put it on the ground. Well, all right, some bad news. This happens, we'll figure it out. But when I was trying to get this pitman arm off and I was using one of those like puller things, it popped off the side, and as you can see, it kind of boogered up the ball joint there. So I'm gonna go do some research, see what parts cost and all that kind of stuff, and do some thinking and figure out what I can do so I can get that nut back on there, get that attached, that ball joint to that pitman arm, and we can move on with the steering. Another way, it could be a sign that I just needed to replace some of these parts down here anyway. Who knows if we could even align this thing with some of that rust and stuff. I don't know. So I'll choose to be positive at this point and say that it's just ended that way because that's what I needed to do. But also I could look at it if you're down life's hard. So I messed that up trying to get it apart, and now I'm gonna pay for it somehow. But here we go. Brakes are all done. Back tire's on. We were ready to be done with this. If I can grab the light real quick, if you'll just work with me here. Come back up here, you can see we got the new steering gear in. Don't have it hooked up to the steering shaft yet, but it's in here. Remanufactured one from O'Reilly's. That's there. You can see I'm going to cut that here in a second, but I used some zip ties to pull this parking brake cable out of the way because it was hitting onto this steering box and causing problems trying to get everything aligned. So I'm going to go ahead and whack that real quick, get that off of there, get the tension off of the brake booster. But it is way back on the firewall part. But anyway, we got all that way. Now we got a problem. So what I'm going to do It's a brakes are done all the way around. Parking brake's done, it works. Back tires are on. We're close to putting this thing on the ground, minus that one little issue with the pitman arm, but we'll get it. All right, today on the truck, what we're going to be doing is changing out these tie rods, inner and outer bars, all that stuff, because that tie rod end right there got messed up as part of the process of getting it out. So since you can't just replace the tie rod end, you got to replace the whole bar. And then I said, well, let's look and see what it is. So it's like 150 bucks to get all of the bars that you need for the whole steering linkage down here. These things look nasty anyway. That one on the inside that connects the drag link to the other stuff is even worse. So that's what we're going to do today, is work on getting this apart, the one on the other side, and put in these nice new bars that we got here from LMC truck. They had the whole thing, all the pieces. So we're going to get those and put them on the truck, bolt up everything back together, and get this thing looking better, but also get all new parts under here so we don't have to worry about the steering anymore, because that'll be the end of the steering. Or we'll have to replace everything at that point. So we'll walk through that, get the steering back together, and show you how all that goes. Slap the tires back on this thing and get it down on the ground. All right, so I got the old one out and I laid out all the new pieces. So you can see here we've got, this matches here. You go along, there's the connecting piece, the inner tie rod end, and then you got the big long bar there. All the angles look right between them. Everything seemed to look good. One thing I did notice on this one, there is no grease fitting and it's all sealed up. So I guess that is what it is. Well, that's what goes there. On this bar, on this end, there's a hole, but it did not come with a grease fitting thing, so I might have to get one of those. And then this bar, the big long bar, it does have holes for grease fittings in there. Sorry for the finger. And they came in a little bag, so we'll have to put those in too. But yeah, I think everything looks right. So we're gonna go ahead and start working on putting the new stuff in so we can get this thing on the ground. So here we are, got the new piece in. There you can see all of those pieces. I just set it to about the length as what I pulled out of here. Obviously it's going to need an alignment, needs new tires anyway, but all that's reconnected back together. You can see all of those pieces where the inner tie rod end goes in. I've got the little cotter pins in and everything. I did manage to get those grease fittings in there, but I don't have a grease gun today, so we're going to get one of those, obviously. More new tools, and grease those things up some more. They came with grease in them, but we'll just make sure to top it off. But all that's connected, ready to go. So now what we're going to do is get the tires on here, get this thing on the ground, then we'll adjust or reconnect the steering column from the top once we get this thing back on the ground. So once we got it back on the ground, the last steps we had to do was reconnect the coupler to the rebuilt steering box that we got down here. So that's just, you can see a 1/2 inch bolt there where you drop it down on, and then right by my finger right there is where you connect that one. Then right there is another bolt that you got to tighten up, which that holds all the guts up in the steering column itself. That one you got to put a 1/2 inch on both sides because it spins. So you need a wrench and a socket on that one. Then right there in the middle, you got to tighten that bolt. That tightens up that band around the column that you can kind of see there. So once you get all that stuff done, then you got to head inside and tighten up a bolt in there.